So what were my part-time jobs? I had a bursary to get through varsity, and I did a lot of part-time work just to help get work experience and to obviously build up some cash before I started actually working full-time. So let me go through them because I had quite a few of them. At school I delivered newspapers, so we used to do newspaper rounds in my area. Newspapers used to get dropped off, and then we used to do the rounds. And I always forget they had those silly bags where you had some in the front, some in the back, and then if you managed, I know I used to throw the newspapers over people's walls, but you had to take the newspapers out from the front and the back at the same rate. Otherwise, what happens is if you take them all out the front, then the back one pulls you back, and I remember the bag always pulling my neck like this. So I delivered newspapers. I was on a TV program for about 5 years, so I did a lot of interviews of celebrities. It was a youth education program, and I used to go on trips, and that was great. It was good money, it was good experience, gave me the confidence to talk into a camera, to create content, to put out there. Then I also was a cashier, or a teller rather, let's say, in not a teller, checkout clerk in a supermarket. So where you swipe the tins of beans and the groceries and everything, and I wasn't very good at that, so I didn't last very long. But that was at a supermarket chain called Checkers, so I did that for a little bit. I then, more at varsity, I used to merchandise magazines. So publishers of magazines wanted to make sure that their magazines were well displayed in the shops, and that the right quantities, etc., were out. And so I had a little motorbike, and I used to nip around in between lectures, actually. So we had sort of 15-20 minutes between lectures. I could get out, I could do one shop, come back quickly in between lectures. And I used to do about 10-15 stores on a Friday, and then write a report to the publishers, on a range of different titles of how many were in each shop, and whether it was well laid out and everything. So that was another job. Then I also did a little bit of voiceovers for radio adverts, but not much. That wasn't much. Difficult to get that kind of work as well. And then I was a DJ. Had my own sound equipment and lighting, and it was called Pete's Beat. I remember that. It was great, actually, and that was I would say the biggest sort of source of income for me during my varsity years. And so I did 21st parties, I did teenagers parties, I did a couple of weddings, if I can recall correctly, and that taught me a lot about being an entrepreneur. And the one thing that I remember, one lesson for me, was I was in touch with a number of other DJs, because we used to do jobs for each other if we couldn't make it, etc. And a lot of the other guys, every time they got paid for a job, they go out and buy a new set of lights, or they go and buy a new sound deck, or a new set of speakers, or whatever. And I kind of figured out, I said, well, that's just taking all your profits. And do people hire you because you've got a new set of lights? Maybe, maybe not. So I was very almost stingy with the proceeds of any of my jobs, and also didn't hire anybody to help me. A lot of other DJs hired people to help them carry their gear, because I remember 2-3 o'clock in the morning, you're carrying gear up flights of stairs and across car parks and in and out of people's houses. I mean, some of these crazy parties, I'd have to clear all the beer cans off the top of my speakers. There'd be 20 beer cans stacked up on my speaker that I'd have to clear off before I could take my speaker and stick that in the car and go home. So it was a lot of work. But all the proceeds I got, I put into unit trusts, and I just saved and saved and saved. And look, I did have to buy new music. So this was in the days of CDs, so I had to buy, a new music at least. And that was the one thing that I allowed myself, was to keep buying, latest new music, because when people went to these parties, they wanted to hear the latest music that was being played on the radio and on the charts, etc. So that was a bit of a trip down memory lane. We're talking about getting work experience in our webinar tomorrow when I interview the CEO of Jobbox, which is a freelancing platform for students. So join us and you'll learn how you can make cash and get work experience while you're studying.